Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
Welcome back to New Battles, American Civil War with Bang and Dang, and it's finally well, I don't know about finally happening, but the city of Atlanta is officially under attack today.
Atlanta about to be riddled bullet holes,
making way for the old March to the Sea to come, and
probably, if not the biggest, the second biggest city, most important city in the South, I'd have to say. Probably the most important. After Nolens gone.
Well, I would say Richmond was probably the most important at this point. Sure. We got some more Jubal Early getting chased out of D.C. still. And obviously we got the Battle of Atlanta. Then we got the Second Battle of Kernstown, which is some more Jubal Early stuff. And then we'll finish it up with Deep Bottom, which is the Siege of Petersburg. Forgot that was still going on. Huh? I haven't been back to Petersburg in a while here. Got some good stuff. We're still only in July. We got a lot of battles still left in 1864. Lincoln's about to get capped. He's about to get napped coming around the corner.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff's happening. Oh, is it this episode? I think it might be this episode. One of these episodes, big loss for the Union. Let's just put it that way.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So look forward to that. It might be one of these. I don't think it is. I think it's next episode. But, teaser for you here for next episode. In the meantime, go check out our Bangcast. What? Go check out our YouTube at Bang Dang Network. Post shorts, clips. What's the other ones? Full episodes and our YouTube exclusive Dart League.
The most important one.
We just bumped over 500 subscribers, y'all. So
hey.
Share us with your friends and get us to that magical 1,000 mark. We got a long way to go if we want to rock and roll. It took a little less than a year to get to 500. So by this time, 2025, baby, we should be about 920 subscribers. So awesome.
Next year only really took 6-7 months.
Here's it on Apple, Spotify. Give us a review, share us with friends, and answer that Spotify question. Starting off, Battle of Rutherford's Farm, Rutherford's Farm, also known as Carter's Farm and Stevenson's Depot. It was a small engagement between Confederate forces, obviously under Major General Stephen D. Ramseur, and the Union under Brigadier General William Averill, July 20th, 1864, Frederick County, Virginia, which is part of Jubal Early's Valley Campaign.
Fuck a Jubal Early.
Well, following two unsuccessful Union attacks on his flanks at Cabletown and Barry's Ferry, General Early ordered a withdrawal from the Confederate position at Berryville towards a more secure position at Strasburg. Stephen, right. July 19th. The two walked away with money, not even pitching. The movement required the evacuation of the military hospitals and storage depots from the Confederate base of operations at Winchester. To cover the evacuation, Early ordered Ramseur's division to Winchester with orders to stay within the city's defensive works and not to precipitate any unnecessary engagements with the enemy.
Right.
Don't you doing shit, man. Just stay here.
Absolutely have to. And even then. Well, 3 days prior to this, Union Major General David Hunter had received an erroneous report of Confederate cavalry in Winchester, preparing for a raid on the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. To meet this very threat, Hunter dispatched Averill's division from Martinsburg. Averill got underway on the 19th of July and crept slowly upon the valley, wary of being overrun by Early's men, making it as far as Bunker Hill by nightfall, where he made camp.
Oh, he bunkered down, right? Ramseur's division arrived at Winchester the morning of the July 20th, whereupon he dispatched his cavalry under John C. Vaughn and William Jackson to Carter's Farm north of town to scout the enemy's position.
Right.
Confederate skirmishers found the Union encampment at Bunker Hill, about 7 a.m. and reported their presence to Ramseur. 9 a.m., Averill's force broke camp and set down the Valley Turnpike, fighting the Confederate skirmishers the entire way. By 11 a.m., the Federals arrived at Stevenson's Depot, where they encountered Vaughn's and Jackson's dismounted cavalry, which was supported by artillery on a small ridge. The artillery opened fire, halting the unit advance, and prompted Averill to bring up his artillery, leading to a protracted duel. Said, you're not the only one that has these big guns, baby.
Look at that shit. About 2 p.m., Vaughn, he sent a courier to Ramseur, apprising him of the developments and recommending that the infantry be brought up to ambush the old bluecoats. Despite Early's orders to stay within the defenses of Winchester, Ramseur saw the chance for a great victory and agreed with Vaughn. I mean, you got to, right? by the time you wait, orders and all that, and shit's done ruined. How many times have we seen that before? Well, if they would have attacked earlier, they had a bigger chance, and then reinforcements came in.
Or he didn't believe that there was a force waiting for him.
Oh, Vaughn was like, let's do this. Ramseur was like, yes, dispatch. Let's get that infantry. And then we can develop a battle. Dispatch. Let's get the infantry to develop a battle.
Over.
Within the hour, the infantry arrived and was concealed into a woods that was atop a ridge. Okay. As the old Confederate infantry was arriving, the Union assault got underway. As the Union charge approached the woods, the concealed Confederate infantry unleashed a volley of musket fire that checked the old Bluecoats' advance and threatened to turn its left.
Oh, shit. Well, unfortunately for those Confederates, the woods in which they hid formed an acute angle with the turnpike, leaving their left protruding towards the Union advance. Mm-hmm. Union cavalry covering the Union right soon smashed into the exposed Confederate left flank, turning it.
You ain't killing.
Confederate center and right continued to deliver devastating fire against Union center and left, but slowly regiment by regiment of the Confederate left began to turn in full retreat towards Winchester, until finally the whole Confederate line collapsed in retreat.
They had to.
Despite Ramseur's effort, the line could not be reassembled before it reached the defenses of Winchester. Still unsure of the whereabouts of the rest of Early's army, Averill declined to pursue the retreating Confederates, thus ending the battle.
Wow.
Why?
Wow. If they had that flank cover, dude, it was over. Just should have a couple more men. The battle resulted in a resounding Union victory, but strategically resulted in little else except a much-needed boost of the Union morale after a string of defeats by Early's veteran troops.
At least they defended Washington, D.C., I mean.
Evacuation of Winchester continued undisturbed, and Ramseur, despite his insubordination, resulted in unnecessary losses, received nothing more than a stern talking to from Early.
He's like, man, you can't be doing that.
What the hell? I mean, it was a good call, but man, come on. Private John Shanes, Company K, 14th West Virginia Infantry, received the Medal of Honor for his actions in the fighting on that day. And he did that near Carter's Farm, where he charged upon a Confederate field piece in advance of his comrades.
His comrades? Ramrads.
Well, you got all those comrades. In advance of his comrades, by his individual exertions, silenced the piece.
Damn.
Oh.
Were you John Shanes?
The site of the battlefield has recently seen heavy development.
Of course it has. Why would it not?
Located on the north end of Winchester, Virginia, the battlefield now hosts a shopping center and an office complex.
Well, good for them.
Well,
moves us to the Battle of Atlanta, which surprisingly is not very big. It took place during the Atlanta campaign, obviously July 22nd, just southeast of Atlanta. Continuing their summer campaign to seize the important rail and supply hub of Atlanta. How many times can I say Atlanta?
Right.
Union forces commanded by William Tecumseh Sherman go up against Confederate forces defending the city under John Bell Hood. War weariness was growing in the North, and President Abraham Lincoln's prospects for re-election were diminishing as a result. When, March 9th, we already know what happens. He commissions Ulysses S. Grant as the only Union Army Lieutenant General, which is then the highest grade in the United States Army. Look at that.
Look at that shit. Wow.
So he's even higher than Halleck. I'm higher than Halleck, baby.
Wow. 10th of March, Lincoln. He gave Grant command of all the armies of the United States. On the 12th of March, Grant's appointment as General-in-Chief was publicly announced.
Well, look at that. Good for him.
Major General William T. Sherman was assigned to command the military division of the Mississippi, including Department of Ohio, Department of Cumberland, Department of Tennessee, and Department of Arkansas. Sherman took command on 18th of March, 1864. The assignment made Sherman commander of the Union armies in the western theater of the war.
Grant devised a strategy for Union victory through simultaneous campaigns against several Confederate armies.
Oh, he already knew what he wanted to do.
He was like, oh, these guys are idiots.
Right.
He wanted to prevent Confederate armies from reinforcing each other in turn and to fatally weaken the entire Confederate army, obviously. Sherman would lead one of two key campaigns. The objective of Sherman's campaign was to defeat and disperse the Confederate Army of Tennessee under the command of General Joseph Johnston.
Right.
And to capture the vital railway center of Atlanta, Georgia.
Do that.
And to destroy or damage Confederate war resources as much as possible, and to split the Confederacy again, as had been done at Vicksburg and Port Hudson in July of 1863.
Sure did.
Yep. Final time. Split them up one final time, boys.
Yep. 4th of May, 1864. Sherman, ready to move his armies from Chattanooga, Tennessee toward Ringgold, Georgia, with an estimated 112,000 troops. Oh, Johnston from the old Reb side had between 60 to 70,000 troops. Johnston had taken advantage of terrain of woods, hills, rivers, All that in northern Georgia by entrenching his army at Dalton, about 1/4 of the way between Chattanooga and Atlanta. Okay. Historian Alan Nevins, he wrote that Sherman's numerical advantage did not make Johnson's position hopeless in view of his fortified line of defenses in the rough, confusing, mountainous, wooded country of
that's a lot of words to describe a
right.
fucking
right.
rough country. I
Right.
love that.
It had poor roads and 3 difficult rivers to cross. Well, Sherman had to keep his Western Atlantic Railroad supply line open so he could break away from it only for short periods of time. That's it. He's like, I can only for a minute. I got to see that.
We got to...
I got to be close to that railroad at all times.
During the months leading up to the battle, Confederate General Joseph Johnson had repeatedly retreated from Sherman's superior force.
Yeah, Johnson turned into a little bitch.
What was he supposed to do? He's got 50,000 less men.
Fight.
It ain't 1861 no more.
Right.
all along the western and Atlantic Railroad line from Chattanooga to Marietta, Georgia, a pattern was played and replayed. Johnson took up a defensive position. Sherman marched to outflank the Confederate defenses. Johnson retreated again.
Oh, wow.
After Johnson's withdrawal following the Battle of Resaca, the two armies clashed again at the Battle of Kennesaw Mountain.
We had them both.
But obviously, the Confederate senior leadership in Richmond was unhappy with Johnson's perceived reluctance to fight the Union, even though he had little chance of winning.
Right. They booted his ass.
Send all your men in the slaughter. We don't give a shit in the name of the country.
Right. They were like, you got to go, but who can we replace you with? Well, July 17th, preparing for the Battle of Peachtree Creek, Johnston said, go home, bud, or go somewhere else. And guess what?
We don't really care this way. Just get the fuck out of here.
Right. Lieutenant General John Bell Hood comes in and takes the old lead. The dismissal and replacement of Johnston remains one of the most controversial decisions of the Civil War.
Right, because Johnson's clearly better than Hood.
Right. Hood was fond of taking risks, lashed out at Sherman's army at Peachtree Creek, but the attack had failed, with more than 2,500 old rebel soldiers being a casualty.
Well, now Hood needed to defend the city of Atlanta, which was an important rail hub and industrial center for the Confederacy, but his army was small in comparison to the armies that Sherman commanded. He decided to withdraw, classically threatening Sherman's supply lines in his army's rear. He hoped his aggressiveness and the size of his still formidable force on the move would entice the Union troops to come forward against him, if only to protect their rear supply lines.
Right.
The Union did not do so.
Of course not.
Oh, it is this one, isn't it? McPherson's army closed in upon Decatur, Georgia, to the east side of Atlanta.
Uh-oh, here comes McPherson. He's ready to fight. Well, Sherman and his forces...
There goes McPherson.
Oh, Sherman's forces in the Atlanta campaign included 3 armies. The Army of Tennessee under Major General James McPherson. Army of Cumberland under Major General George Thomas. And the small Army of Ohio, including only the 23rd Corps and a few small units under Major General John Schofield. The Army of Tennessee comprised of the 15th Corps, initially under the command of Logan, and then under the command of Brigadier General Morgan Smith. 16th Corps under the command of Major General Grenville Dodge. And he also had the 17th Corps, and that was commanded by Major General Frank Blair, the Junior.
Junior Frankie. The Confederate Army of Tennessee was commanded by Johnson until the 17th, when he was replaced.
Right.
At the start of the campaign, the Army of Tennessee comprised 3 infantry
how can we
corps.
make this article a little bit longer? Oh, yeah, let's repeat ourselves.
Let's do this 100 times. At the start of the campaign, the Army of Tennessee had 3 infantry corps under the command of Lieutenant Generals William Hardee, Leonidas Polk, and John Bell Hood. Leonidas Polk is dead, though. And they had a cavalry corps under Major General Joseph Wheeler. After Polk was killed on June 14th, he was replaced in corps command by Major General William Wing Loring, temporarily and officially on July 7th by Lieutenant General Alexander Stewart. Many, but not all, of the units of both armies fought in the Battle of Atlanta and related action at Decatur on July 22nd, 1864,
General Hood, he ordered Lieutenant General William Hardee's corps on a march around the Union left flank. Had Major General Joseph Wheeler's cavalry march near Sherman's supply line. Major General Benjamin Cheatham's corps attacked the Union front. However, it took longer than expected for Hardee to get his men into position.
You know, just why not? A dude literally has nothing else to do but get his men in position.
Right. Confederate Major General William Walker, H.T. Walker, was killed, shot from his horse by a blue coat sharpshooter as he scouted the front to prepare his forces for the beginning of the battle.
Oh, poor guy, huh?
Damn. During that time, Hardee's corps was deploying for an attack. McPherson had correctly deduced a possible threat to his left flank. Oh, look at that shit. Wow.
Well, he sent the 16th Corps, his reserve, to help strengthen the position. Hardee's men met this other force, and the battle began. About this time, McPherson rode to the front with 2 aides to determine the situation and redeploy some regiments as gunfire continued to build to the south of his line. While on this reconnaissance, McPherson was shot and killed by Confederate infantry unexpectedly moving forward.
Wow.
When the Confederates called on him to halt, he turned his horse and tried to escape after refusing a demand to surrender. Although the initial Confederate attack was repulsed, the Union left flank began to retreat under heavy pressure. Initially, Hardee's column took the Flat Shoals Road towards McPherson's position.
Oh, my goodness. McPherson, you dumbass. Dude, why are these guys so, nonchalant, just walking around in battlefields?
Hey, you don't have nobody else that can go do some reconnaissance? Holy shit.
Union troops under Brigadier General Mortimer Leggett, commanding the 3rd Division of the 17th Corps, moved back from the road and swung to a more east-west position to fill a gap between Blair's Corps and Dodge's Corps. And they did that to defend Bald Hill. The main lines of battle now.
Gotta go back.
Right. The main lines of battle now formed an L shape.
All right.
With Hardee's attack forming the power. Fight the power. With Hardee's attack forming the lower part of the L. And Cheatham's attack on the Union.
My guess, what is he going to do? He's going to form the other part of the L?
Well, Cheatham, he's going to, while he's attacking Union front, as the vertical member of the L. So you're right.
Yeah, there's only 2 shapes that an L can be.
Right. Hood intended to attack the old blue coats from both east and west.
Yeah, that's a good plan, bud.
The fighting centered on a hill east of the city, known as Bald Hill.
Okay, yep, established that earlier.
Right. The old blue coats had arrived 2 days earlier and began to shell the city proper, killing several civilians.
Hey, good for them,
what
bud.
the hell?
Hey, man, all is fair in love and war. A savage struggle, sometimes hand-to-hand, developed around the hill, lasting just until after dark. We're like, all right, it's dark. We got to stop fighting now. No more
struggle.
No more fisticuffs.
Right.
The Federals held the hill while the Confederates retired to a point just south of there. Meanwhile, 2 miles to the north, Cheatham's troops had broken through the Union lines at the Georgia Railroad. In response, 20 artillery pieces were positioned on a small knoll, was it grassy, near Sherman's headquarters and shelled the Confederates, while Logan's 15th Corps was regrouped and repulsed the Southern troops.
Uh-oh.
In a separate action near Decatur, Colonel John W. Sprague, in command of the 2nd Brigade, 4th Division of the 16th Corps, was attacked by Wheeler's cavalry.
Oh, holy shit. Wheeler had taken the Fayetteville Road and moved into the town of Decatur. Union troops fell back from the town while successfully protecting the ordnance and supply trains of the 15th, the 16th, and the 17th, and also the 20th Corps. Sprague received some reinforcements, but Wheeler withdrew due to being recalled by Hardee 3 times in quick succession at about 5 p.m. He's like, Hardee said, I need your help to attack Bald Hill, buddy.
He said, Hardee.
Sprague was later awarded the Medal of Honor for his actions.
Look at this.
The Union has suffered 3,700 casualties, including Major General McPherson.
Yeah.
While the old Rebs' casualties numbered about 5,500. This was a heavy loss for the already reduced Confederate Army. But they still had Atlanta.
For now, because Sherman had to settle into a siege of Atlanta, shelling the city and sending raids west and south of the city to cut off the supply lines from Macon. Both of Sherman's cavalry raids included McCook's raid and Stillman's raid and were defeated by Confederate cavalry collectively under General Wheeler.
Oh, look at Wheeler.
Although the raids partially achieved their objective of cutting railroad tracks and destroying supply wagons, they were soon after repaired and supply lines continued to move to the city of Atlanta.
Did nothing.
Found the failure to break the Confederates' hold on the city, Sherman began to employ a new strategy.
Ooh, gotta get a new one. Wow. Well, he's like, check this out, guys. We're going to swing this whole entire army in a broad flanking maneuver to the west. Finally, on the 31st of August at Jonesboro, Georgia, Sherman's army captured the railroad track from Macon.
Oh, there you go.
Pushing the old rebels to Lovejoy Station. With the supply lines fully severed, Hood pulled his troops out of Atlanta the very next day, which was September 1st, and he destroyed supply depots as he left to prevent the old Union from taking them over. Like, you ain't getting this shit, mofos.
Like, we don't care.
Right. He also set fire to 81 loaded ammo carts, which led to a conflagration watched by hundreds.
I'm sure they had no choice but to watch it, you know. September 2nd, Mayor James Calhoun, along with a committee of Union-leaning citizens, including William Markham, Jonathan Norcross, and Edward Rawson, met a captain on the staff of Major General Henry Slocum, and surrendered the city, asking for protection to non-combatants and private property.
Nope. Can't promise you anything.
Sherman, who was in Jonesboro at the time of surrender, sent a telegram to Washington on September 3rd, reading, Atlanta is ours and fairly won.
Within a week of the fall of Atlanta, Sherman had ordered all non-military personnel out of Atlanta.
He said, "This is our town now, bitches.
Reportedly,
Where are we supposed to go? We don't give a fuck."
Anywhere but here. Reportedly, he remembered the cities of Memphis and Vicksburg, which became a burden immediately after victory. He was like, "You remember those?" So he told...
Like they had to take care of everybody in town and shit after that. Nope, only people that's going to be here is military. We don't have nobody responsible for nothing.
So he told all the civilians of Atlanta, he said, "Hey, go north or south, bud. But
or east or west, I'm assuming.
You can't stay here." A truce of sorts was quickly established at a town nearby called Rough and Ready with General Hood. Damn, that's a town called Rough and Ready?
Or is it the town called Rough and Ready with General Hood?
Right.
He's got his own like a tavern. He's like, "Welcome to Rough and Ready with General Hood."
Pew, pew, pew. Oh, wow. Where the old blue coats and the old Rebs prisoners were in small numbers exchanged, and civilians wishing to go south could help to that end.
Well, could get help to that end, so get assistance going south.
Either way.
Right. After the battle, Sherman established his headquarters in Atlanta September 7th. He stayed until November 15th when the Army of Tennessee, then commanded by Major General Oliver Howard and consisting of 2 corps, and the newly formed Army of Georgia, look at that,
Georgia,
which was commanded by General Henry Slocum, also with 2 corps, departed for Savannah on the campaign known as Sherman's March to the Sea.
Sherman's March
going to the sea. Despite the damage caused by the war, Atlanta recovered from its downfall relatively quickly. As one observer noted, as early as November 1865, a new city is springing up with marvelous rapidity. Of course, it's Atlanta.
Right. The fall of Atlanta and the success of their overall Atlanta campaign were extensively covered by northern newspapers and were a boon to northern morale and to President Lincoln's political standing.
Right.
1864 election, Democratic challenger George McClellan, he ran against Lincoln. McClellan ran a conflicted campaign. He was a Unionist who had advocated continuing the war until the defeat of the old rebel army. But the Democratic platform included calls for negotiations with the old Confederacy on the subject of potential truce.
No.
Oh, wow. The capture of Atlanta and Hood's burning of military facilities as he evacuated showed that a successful conclusion of the war was in very sight. It was like right here. Weakening support for a truce.
They're like, why would we truce when we're about to dominate these fucks?
They're about ready for a truce before this, though. That's pretty crazy.
Right before Vicksburg.
Right. Then there would have been another Civil War, guaranteed.
Well, maybe
not. As a result, Lincoln
would have been a truce and there would have been 2 countries.
Right. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked. That wouldn't have worked. Especially in today's climate. Imagine that shit.
All right. It would definitely be together as one.
Maybe.
As a result, Lincoln was reelected by a wide margin with 212 of 233 electoral votes.
Damn, McClellan. Not only did you fail as a general, you failed as a politician.
And this dude is willing to just end the war and like, screw it.
1880, Atlanta ranked among the 50 largest cities in the United States. Good for them. The battlefield is now urban, residential, and commercial land with many markers memorializing notable events of the battle, including McPherson's place of death. The marker was erected in 1956 by the Georgia Historical Commission. To commemorate the 140th anniversary of the battle in 2004, so now it's the 150th, or 160th battle, or year. Wow. 2 new markers were erected in the Inman Park neighborhood. The Atlanta Cyclorama building, built in 1921 and listed on the Register of Historic Places, is located in Grant Park and formerly contained a panoramic painting of the battle. 2014, City of Atlanta sold the Battle of Atlanta Cyclorama to Atlanta History Center. Well, that's because why?
Atlanta History Center constructed new purpose-built building at their Buckhead campus to house the art piece.
Well, good for them.
The painting itself underwent an extensive restoration to reverse changes made to the original painting in the 1890s.
Well, what did they change?
Right. The cyclorama and accompanying exhibition opened at Atlanta History Center on February 22nd, 2019.
Well, good for them. Another notable establishment destroyed by Union soldiers was the Ponder House, built in 1857 and owned by Ephraim G. Ponder, a holder of 65 slaves before the war. In the battle, it was used by Confederate sharpshooters until Union artillery inflicted heavy damage. It was never rebuilt. One of Ponder's slaves, Festus Flipper, was the father of Henry Ossian Flipper, who later became the first African-American cadet to graduate from West Point.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, the stories all come around.
I like it.
That.
Well, at first, the old Battle of Atlanta wasn't looking too good for the old Bluecoats. And then they regrouped.
Once you cut that supply line, man, nothing you can do now.
Moving on. Second Battle of Kernstown. We had the first Battle of Kernstown sometime before. 24th of July, 1864 in Kernstown, outside of Winchester, as part of the Valley campaigns of 1864. The old Confederate Army of the Valley, under Lieutenant General Jubal Early, soundly battled the Union Army of West Virginia under Brigadier General George Crook.
All right.
On the morning of 24th of July, 1864, Early marched his army north against Crook. Confederate cavalry encountered its Union counterpart south of Kernstown in the morning, and a heavy skirmishing broke out.
All right, couriers alerted Crook to the attack. Crook still believed Early's infantry had left the valley and sent only 2 of his division. What was just talking about this earlier? Like, you guys are idiots, man.
Dummy.
He sent only his 2 of his division with cavalry support to meet the attack. In the early afternoon, the infantry of both armies had arrived on the field. The Confederate position extended well to the east side of the valley pike, south of Kernstown, anchored on each flank on high ground and screened by cavalry. Major General John B. Gordon's division formed the Confederate center along the valley turnpike. Ramseur's division formed on his left with its flank resting on Sandy Ridge to the west of Kernstown, which was screened by Colonel William Mudwall Jackson's cavalry.
Oh, fantastic.
Mudwalls.
Right.
I'd be embarrassed to be called Mudwall.
Right,
Just
Mudwall.
So all you got to do is pour water on it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It rains, you're fucked.
That's it. Brigadier General Gabriel Wharton's division, led by Major General John Breckinridge, formed the old rebel rat, with its flank screened by Brigadier General John Vaughan's cavalry. Early initially concealed his infantry in the woods, sending out his cavalry in a skirmish line of sharpshooters to draw the old bluecoats into battle, thus playing into Crook's misconception that the old rebel infantry had left the valley. The Union infantry position remained clustered around the valley pike in Kernstown, anchored by Colonel James Mulligan's division on Pritchard's Hill, one of the keys to the Union success at the Battle of Kernstown in 1862.
Oh, it's 1862, so it wasn't the other day.
Right. It was the other day, 2 years ago.
Right.
To his right, Colonel Joseph Thoburn's division formed on Sandy Ridge.
Right. To his left, future President Rutherford B. Hayes' brigade formed east of the Valley Turnpike. Crook dispatched cavalry under Averill to ride around the Confederate right flank and get in its rear, baby. As the 2 armies skirmishers encountered one another, the battle got underway. It soon became apparent to the Federal divisional commanders that they were facing a superior Confederate force, which they were hesitant to attack, and relayed the information to Crook. Right. And he's probably still like, no!
Right. Wow. Well, Crook quickly became impatient by his divisional commanders, hesitant to attack the old rebels, and distrusted the report of the Confederate strength.
Dude's a fucking moron.
He's like, He ordered Mulligan to attack the old rebels with Thorborn's division in support. About 1 p.m., the Union infantry reluctantly moved out, abandoning Pritchard's Hill. Mulligan division bitterly held its ground at Opequon Church, where advance was halted by Gordon's men. As Hayes' brigade advanced in support, Breckinridge marched Wharton's division to the northeast in a deep ravine that ran perpendicular to the Valley Turnpike.
And he turned the division into the ravine, which screened his movement from the Federals on the turnpike. As Hayes came up the road past the ravine, Breckinridge ordered a charge, and the Confederates assaulted Hayes' exposed flank and sent his division reeling in retreat, taking many casualties.
Oh, shit.
Thoburn was supposed to support Mulligan's right flank in the attack, but because of the topography of the battlefield, he became separated from Mulligan and saw little action.
Oh, shit.
Gordon's Confederates exploited the gap in the Union line to get on Mulligan's right, and when Hayes' division broke, Mulligan found himself caught between the 2 divisions of the rebels.
Oh, shit.
Don't want to be doing that, Mulligan. You ain't getting no Mulligan on this one.
Right, well, Mulligan said, guess what? Withdraw, mofos, and he was mortally wounded as he tried to rally his troops and prevent a full rout during the retreat. The Confederate infantry pressed the fleeing Federals all the way back through Winchester, and the cavalry kept at their heels well into West Virginia.
Jeez.
Averill's cavalry had attempted to flank the old rebels as ordered, but ran headlong into Vaughan's cavalry on the front Royal Pike. The shock of the unexpected rebel cavalry sent the Federal cavalry racing towards Martinsburg.
Jeez. When the fleeing cavalry encountered the retreating wagon and artillery trains north of Winchester, it incited a panic among the Federal teamsters, causing many to abandon their charges as they got up and retreat.
Oh, shit.
Jeez. Many of the wagons had to be burned to prevent them from falling into Confederate hands.
Oh, wow.
As night fell, the Confederate cavalry swept the countryside looking for Federals who had become lost from their units in retreat. Most of the Federals spent the night out in the rain, scattered across countryside, trying to evade capture.
Oh, can you imagine?
No fire, you ain't doing nothing. You're just sitting there in the dark.
Freezing your ass off. Wow.
I mean, it's summer.
Well, the victory for the old Rebs marked the high water point for Confederacy in the Valley in 1864.
That's all you're getting.
Crook's broken army retreated to the Potomac River and crossed near Williamsport, Maryland on the 26th of July. With Shenandoah Valley clear of Union forces, Early launched a raid into Northern Territory, the last made by substantial Confederate force during the war. He burned Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, as retribution for David Hunter's burning of civilians' houses and farms early in the campaign.
Remember that?
Yeah, bastard. Hunter had also burned the Virginia Military Institute in Lexington, but Early's orders to his cavalry under John McClellan did not mention this as a justification.
They won't give a shit about it's the Military Institute.
Right, you're going to burn that.
They also attacked Union garrisons protecting the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad near Cumberland, Maryland. As a result of this defeat and McCausland's burning of Chambersburg July 30th, Grant returned the 6th and 9th Corps to the Valley and appointed Major General Philip Sheridan as the commander of forces there, turning the tide once and for all against the Confederates in the Valley.
Hey, yeah, I mean...
Said, all right, we've had enough of you guys playing your little games early.
It's all but over. Well, there goes that one. That was kind of funky for the Union idiots.
I mean, Early got the best of them.
First Battle of Deep Bottom, also known as Darbytown, Strawberry Plains, New Market Road, or Gravel Hill. It was fought between 27th and 29th of July in 1864 at Deep Bottom in Henrico County, Virginia, as part of the Siege of Petersburg. Union forces under Major Winfield S. Hancock and Philip H. Sheridan was sent on an expedition threatening Richmond and its railroads, intending to attract rebel forces away from the Petersburg defensive line, in anticipation of the upcoming Battle of the Crater,
which we'll have next episode. Deep Bottom is the colloquial name for the area in the James River in Henrico County, 11 miles southeast of Richmond, at a horseshoe-shaped bend in the river known as Jones's Neck. It was a convenient crossing point from the Bermuda Hundred area on the south side of the river. Lieutenant General Ulysses S. Grant began a siege of the city of Petersburg, after initial assaults June 15th to 18th. They failed to break through. Right. While Union cavalry conducted the Wilson Culch raid June 22nd to July 1st in an attempt to cut the railroad lines leading into Petersburg, Grant and his generals planned a renewed assault on the Petersburg fortifications, which was an attack scheduled for July 30th that would become known as the Battle of the Crater. Hoping to increase the chances for success at Petersburg, Grant planned a movement against Richmond that General Robert E. Lee would likely counter with troops taken out of the Petersburg line.
You ain't getting about right.
Yep.
Damn. Grant ordered the Second Corps of the Army of Potomac, commanded by Major General Winfield S. Hancock, and 2 divisions of Major General Philip Sheridan's Cavalry Corps, to cross the river to Deep Bottom by pontoon bridge and advance against the old rebel capital. A division of the 10th Corps, which is the Army of the James, commanded by Brigadier General Robert Foster, had previously crossed on a second pontoon bridge just upstream to secure a bridgehead on the north bank of the river. Cool. Good for you, Foster.
Right. Grant's plan called for Hancock to pin down the Confederates at Chapin's Bluff and to prevent reinforcements from opposing Sheridan's cavalry, which would attack Richmond if practicable. If not, a circumstance Grant considered more likely, Sheridan was ordered to ride around the city to the north and west and cut the Central Railroad of Virginia, which was supplying Richmond from the Shenandoah. The Confederate field works protecting Richmond were commanded by Lieutenant General Richard Ewell.
Right. When Lee found out about Hancock's pending movement, he ordered that the Richmond lines be reinforced with 16,500 men.
Just what old Daddy Grant wanted, baby.
Yep. 4 brigades of Major General Joseph Kershaw's division joined Colonel John S. Fulton's brigade of the Department of Richmond, and the brigades of Brigadier General James H. Lane and Samuel McGowan from Major General Cadmus Wilcox's division. The reinforcements moved east on New Market Road, which is present-day Virginia State Route 5, and took up positions on the eastern face of New Market Heights.
Hancock and Sheridan crossed the pontoon bridge starting at 3 a.m. July 27th. Second Corps advanced with the division of Major General John Gibbon on the left, Brigadier General Francis Barlow in the center, Brigadier General Gershom Mott on the right. Gershom Mott, huh? They broke through the Confederate rifle pits on the New Market Road, captured 4 cannons, and continued to advance towards the Long Bridge Road. It's a long bridge. After being distracted by Confederate artillery fire, which Mott's infantry was able to suppress, the Second Corps took up positions on the east bank of Bailey's Creek from New Market Road near Fussel's Mill.
Oh, Fussel's Mill. It's fantastic. Sheridan's cavalry rode to the high ground on the right, overlooking the mill pond. Cavalry Division of Brigadier General Alfred T.A. Torbert captured the high ground near Fussel's Mill, but they were counterattacked and driven back by the 10th and 50th Georgia Infantry. The Confederate works on the west bank of Bailey's Creek were formidable, and Hancock chose not to attack them, spending the rest of the day performing a reconnaissance. He's like, let's check this shit out.
Well, while Hancock was stymied at Bailey's Creek, Robert E. Lee began bringing up more reinforcements from Petersburg, reacting as Grant had hoped. He assigned Lieutenant General Richard Anderson to take command of the Deep Bottom Sector and sent in Major General Henry Heath's Infantry Division and Major General W.H.F. Rooney Lee's cavalry. Troops were also hurriedly detailed from the Department of Richmond to help man the trenches. Oh. You're playing right into it, Lee.
Yeah.
You've not been a very good general since Gettysburg.
Not at all. Morning of 28th of July, 1864, Grant reinforced Hancock with the brigade of the 19th Corps, which freed up Gibbon's division from its position on the New Market Road to assist in an attack on the old rebel left. Sheridan's men attempted to turn the old rebel left with an advance against Gravel Hill, but their movement was disrupted by a Confederate attack itself. 3 brigades, which was Lane's, McGowan's, and Kershaw's, attacked Sheridan's right flank.
Okay. The Union cavalrymen formed a battle line in which they were lying prone just beyond a shallow ridge line. The Confederates charged over the crest and encountered heavy fire from the Union repeating carbines.
Shit, you ain't getting.
Mounted Federals in Sheridan's reserve pursued and captured nearly 200 prisoners.
Damn.
The Confederates were able to capture a single Union cannon before withdrawing to the earthworks.
Nice.
Hey, we got rid of one of them.
Right. By the afternoon of 28th of July, Hancock had repositioned his divisions to ensure that his force could return to the Deep Bottom crossing point without interference. No other combat occurred, and the expedition against Richmond and its railroads were terminated.
Huh.
Satisfied that the operation had distracted sufficient Confederate forces from his front, General Grant determined to proceed with the assault against the crater on the 30th of July. He ordered Hancock to send Mott's division to Petersburg that night, so that the 18th Corps could take up a position to support the assault. Nice.
Okay, the remainder of the 2nd Corps and the cavalry recrossed James July 31st. Union casualties at First Battle of Deep Bottom were 488, which were 62 killed, 340 wounded, 86 missing or captured. Confederates were 679 with 80 killed, 391 wounded, 208 missing or captured. Second Battle of Deep Bottom would be conducted in essentially the same area, August 13th through the 20th, 1864.
Okay.
The Civil War Trustee and its partners have acquired and preserved 258 acres of the battlefield.
Fantastic. Good for you guys.
Alrighty then. Well, we got some things picking up for Petersburg, huh?
Yeah.
Other than that, Atlanta's captured, so making my way to the sea, moving fast. Well, next week, we're going to have some more Atlanta campaign stuff. It'll be the Battle of Ezra Church, which is going on the same time of what we just explained in Atlanta today, but obviously not at the Battle of Atlanta. Then we got Killdeer Mountain, which this one, we haven't had a battle between Indians and one of the armies in a while. This one's going to be the U.S. Army against Native Americans in the Dakota or Dunn County, North Dakota.
Wow, right.
It doesn't go too well for the Indians, put it that way.
Never does.
And we'll have one more battle, which is the Battle of the Crater, which we've been planning for basically this whole episode. So good stuff coming up next week. And with that, we'll be signing out. This is Rough and Ready with General Hood. Join us next week for more of that stuff. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube at Bang Dang Network. Give us a like and review on the old Spotify, Apple. Answer that question and share us with your friends. We will be back same day, same channel. Maybe. Depends on who's editing in there. We'll see you then. We're Bang Dang.